The silver ship moved slowly through space toward the small blue planet. Commander Veltar looked at the screens showing Earth below them. His 4 arms moved over the controls as he studied the data. "Another primitive world," he said to his crew. "They have not even left their solar system yet." Dr. Zixani, the ship's science officer, nodded her large head. Her species had discovered hundreds of worlds like this one. "The scans show they are mammals, Commander. 2 arms, 2 legs, no natural weapons to speak of." Commander Veltar had done this many times before. First contact with a new species was always the same. The primitive creatures would be amazed by their technology. They would bow down and ask to join the great Galactic Federation. It was simple and easy. On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command center of the Earth Defense Force. Red lights flashed on his screen. Something big was coming toward their planet. "Sir, we have a contact," said Lieutenant Amy Peterson. She was young but smart, one of their best scientists. "It's huge. Much bigger than anything we can build." Jake stared at the screen. This was it. First contact with aliens. He had trained for this day, but never really believed it would happen. "Open all channels," Jake said. "Let's see what they want." The alien ship sent a message. The computer worked hard to translate the strange sounds into English. Finally, words appeared on the screen. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Federation. We come in peace. We wish to meet with your leaders." Jake took a deep breath. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of Earth Defense Force. We welcome you. Would you like to meet aboard our space station?" Commander Veltar smiled. This was going exactly as expected. "Yes, we accept. We will bring a small team for cultural exchange." A few hours later, both groups met on the Earth space station. The aliens were strange to look at. Commander Veltar was tall and blue with 4 arms. Dr. Zixani looked like a giant bird with scales instead of feathers. There were 3 others, all different species. "Welcome to our system," Jake said. He tried not to stare at the aliens. Amy stood next to him, along with Captain Steve Baker from the military. "Thank you," Commander Veltar said. His voice was deep and strange. "We always enjoy meeting new species. Your world seems peaceful." "We try to be," Jake replied. "What would you like to know about us?" Dr. Zixani stepped forward. "We always study the dominant life forms of each world. Can you show us your apex predators? The strongest hunters on your planet?" Jake and Amy looked at each other. This was an interesting question. Most people would think of lions, tigers, or sharks, but Jake had a different idea. "Sure," Jake said, with a small smile. "Amy, could you bring Felix?" Amy nodded and left the room. The aliens waited, expecting to see some terrible beast. Commander Veltar had seen many apex predators. Giant lizards with acid breath, flying creatures with metal claws, beasts that could tear through steel. Amy came back carrying a small carrier. She set it down and opened the door. Out walked a small orange and white cat. Felix was 2 years, old, fat, and very friendly. He walked over to Jake and rubbed against his leg. The alien stared. Dr. Zixani blinked her large eyes several times. "This is your apex predator?" Commander Veltar asked. "One of them," Jake said. He reached down and picked up Felix. The cat began to purr loudly. "We call them cats. This is Felix." Felix looked at the aliens with bright green eyes. His tail swished back and forth. He seemed very relaxed in Jake's arms. "But it is so small," Dr. Zixani said. "How does it hunt? Where are its weapons?" Jake scratched Felix behind the ears. "Oh, he has weapons." "Show them, Felix." Jake held up Felix's paw. He gently pressed on the paw pad. Suddenly, 5 sharp claws came out. They were like tiny knives. curved and deadly sharp. The alien stepped back. "These claws can cut through many things," Jake explained. "And watch this." He tossed a small ball across the room. Felix jumped from Jake's arms, so fast it was like lightning. He caught the ball before it hit the ground, then landed softly on his feet. The aliens watched in shock. The small creature had moved faster than their eyes could follow. "How fast can it move?" Dr. Zixani asked. "About 30 miles per hour in short bursts," Amy said. "And they can jump 9 times their own height. Felix here can leap onto that table without even trying hard." As if to prove her point, Felix jumped onto a table that was 5 feet high. He landed without making any sound. "Their night vision is incredible too," Steve added. "They can see in almost total darkness. And their hearing can detect sounds we cannot even hear." Commander Veltar was starting to feel nervous. "But surely you keep these creatures locked away? In cages?" Jake laughed. "Locked away? Felix lives in my house. He sleeps on my bed. My kids play with him every day. You let your young near this predator?" Dr. Zixani could not believe what she was hearing. "Of course," Amy said. "I have 3 cats at home. They are wonderful pets. Very loving and friendly." Felix jumped down from the table and walked over to the aliens. He sniffed their feet with interest. Commander Veltar tried not to move. "There are about 600 million cats on Earth," Jake continued. "Most families have at least one. Some have many more." 600 million, Dr. Zixani whispered. 600 million apex predators living with your people. "They are not really apex predators," Steve said. "I mean, they are great hunters. But they are small. The real apex predators are much bigger." Commander Veltar felt his legs go weak. "There are bigger ones?" "Oh, yes," Jake said cheerfully. "Lions, tigers, bears, sharks. But cats are special. They chose to live with us thousands of years ago. We have been partners ever since." Felix sat down and began to clean his paw. His rough tongue worked over his fur. Then he looked up at the aliens and meowed softly. "What did it say?" Commander Veltar asked. "He is probably asking for food," Amy said. "Cats are always hungry." Dr. Zixani made notes on her computer. Her hands were shaking slightly. In all her years of studying alien species, she had never seen anything like this. A primitive species that lived peacefully with hundreds of millions of perfectly designed killing machines. "We would like to study your cats more closely," she said, "if that is acceptable." "Of course," Jake said. "Felix would love the attention. Would you not, buddy?" Felix purred louder and rubbed against Jake's leg again. To the humans, it was a sign of affection. To the aliens, it looked like a predator marking its territory. Commander Veltar realized this first contact was not going to be like the others. These humans were clearly more dangerous than they appeared. Any species that could domesticate apex predators was not to be taken lightly. "We look forward to learning more about your people," he said carefully. "And we look forward to learning about the galaxy," Jake replied. "This is going to be the start of something wonderful." Felix meowed again and settled down for a nap in a patch of sunlight. He had no idea that he had just changed the course of galactic history. Dr. Zixani could not sleep. She sat in her lab aboard the Federation ship, staring at the data from her scans of the small Earth creature called Felix. The numbers made no sense. "Computer, run the analysis again," she said for the 10th time. The results were the same. Felix was a perfect killing machine. His bones were incredibly strong, but also light. His muscles could produce bursts of power that would shame much larger predators. His claws were made of a material harder than most metals. But the most shocking discovery was his brain. The scans showed that Felix was far more intelligent than he appeared. The cat's brain had complex patterns that suggested advanced problem-solving abilities. Dr. Zixani, Commander Veltar entered the lab. He looked tired. What have you found? She turned to face him. Commander, I believe we have made a serious error. These cats are not simple pets. They are apex predators that have chosen to work with humans. Work with them? You mean the humans control them? No, sir. The data suggests a partnership. Look at these brain scans. She showed him the screen. Felix's brain shows activity in areas we associate with planning and strategy. He was studying us the entire time we were there. Commander Veltar felt a chill run through his body. You mean it was gathering intelligence? Possibly. And there is more. Dr. Zixani pulled up another screen. The humans have agreed to let us visit their planet. I want to see how these cats behave in their natural environment. 6 hours later, they were on Earth. Captain Jake Morrison met them at the landing site with a small team. Amy Peterson was there, along with a man they had not met before. This is Dr. Kevin Ross, Jake said. He studies animal behavior. He can tell you more about cats than anyone. Dr. Ross was a thin man with glasses. He looked excited to meet aliens. I brought some friends for you to meet, he said. He opened a large carrier, and 6 cats came out. The aliens watched in horror as the cats spread out across the landing area. Each one was different. A large black cat with yellow eyes. A small gray cat with white paws. A long-haired white cat that looked like a small lion. These are all different types? Dr. Zixani asked. Different breeds, Dr. Ross explained. We have about 40 different breeds of cats. Some are big, some are small. Some have long hair, some have short hair, but they are all basically the same animal. The black cat walked straight up to Commander Veltar and sat down. It stared at him with bright yellow eyes. What does it want? Commander Veltar asked nervously. Probably just curious about you, Dr. Ross said. Cats are very curious creatures. They like to investigate new things. The cat stood up and walked around Commander Veltar in a circle. It sniffed his feet and legs, then sat down again and continued staring. Is it safe? Dr. Zixani asked. Oh, yes, Amy said. Midnight is very friendly. She belongs to my neighbor. She probably wants you to pet her. Pet her like this. Amy knelt down and gently stroked the cat's head. The cat began to purr loudly and rubbed against Amy's hand. Dr. Zixani watched this interaction carefully. The cat seemed to enjoy the human's touch, but there was something else in its behavior. The way it positioned itself. The way it kept watching the aliens even while being petted. Dr. Ross, she said, how intelligent are cats? Doctor. Ross smiled. Much more intelligent than most people think. They can solve complex puzzles. They remember things for years. They can learn their names and many different commands. But they choose not to obey? Commander Veltar asked. Cats are independent, Jake explained. They cooperate with us when they want to. They are not like dogs that always obey. Cats make their own decisions. A gray cat had wandered over to Dr. Zixani. It sat down and began washing its paw with its tongue. She watched, fascinated by the rough tongue and the precise movements. Their tongues are covered with tiny hooks, Dr. Ross said, perfect for grooming and for stripping meat from bones. Dr. Zixani shuddered. Even the way cats clean themselves was designed for hunting. Would you like to visit a typical human home? Amy asked. You can see how cats and humans live together. The aliens agreed. They followed the humans to a small house in a quiet neighborhood. A woman named Lisa Davis met them at the door. Welcome, Lisa said. Come in and meet my family. Inside the house, 3 cats were waiting. A large orange cat lay on the sofa. A small black and white cat sat on top of a bookshelf, watching everything. A fluffy gray cat was sleeping in a sunny spot by the window. This is Charlie, Patches, and Smokey, Lisa said, pointing to each cat. The aliens looked around the house. Cat toys were scattered on the floor. Scratching posts stood in corners. Food and water bowls sat in the kitchen. The cats live here all the time? Dr. Zixani asked. Of course, Lisa said. This is their home, too. They go outside during the day, but they always come back. A small human child ran into the room. She was about 6 years old with blonde hair. Mommy, who are the funny people? The child asked. These are visitors from space, Emma, Lisa said. They want to learn about our cats. Emma ran over to Charlie, the orange cat. She picked him up and hugged him tightly. Charlie purred and licked her face with his rough tongue. Commander Veltar watched in amazement. The child showed no fear of the predator. The cat, which could easily hurt her, was gentle and loving. How do you train them to be safe around children? He asked. Lisa looked confused. Train them? We do not really train cats. They just know to be gentle with children. It is natural for them. Dr. Zixani made more notes. The cats had evolved to protect human young. This was not simple domestication. This was a complex partnership that had developed over thousands of years. Can we see them hunt? Commander Veltar asked. Sure, Lisa said. Emma, get the feather toy. Emma ran to get a long stick with feathers tied to the end. She waved it in the air. Immediately, all three cats became alert. Their eyes grew wide. Their bodies crouched low. Charlie jumped off the sofa and crept toward the feathers. His movements were fluid and silent. Patches leaped down from the bookshelf, landing without a sound. Even Smokey woke up and joined the hunt. The aliens watched as the three cats worked together. They surrounded the feather toy, cutting off escape routes. When Emma moved the toy, they attacked as one. Charlie leaped high into the air. Patches struck from the side. Smokey blocked the retreat. It was over in seconds. Charlie caught the feathers and rolled on his back, holding his prize with all four paws. Good boy, Charlie, Emma said, scratching his belly. Dr. Zixani realized what she had just witnessed. Perfect coordination. Flawless teamwork. Strategic thinking. These cats had just demonstrated military-level tactics while playing with a child. They hunt together naturally? She asked. When they want to, Dr. Ross said. Cats can be solitary hunters, or they can work in groups. They adapt to the situation. Commander Veltar was beginning to understand. These humans had not domesticated cats. They had formed an alliance with them. The cats chose to live with humans because it benefited both species. How many cats live on your world? He asked. Hard to say exactly, Jake replied. Probably around 600 million pet cats. And maybe the same number of wild cats. Wild cats? Cats that live outside but still around human cities, Amy explained. They take care of pest problems. Mice, rats, things like that. Double quotes. Dr. Zixani felt dizzy. Over 1 billion apex predators lived on this planet, most of them in partnership with humans. It was the most successful predator-prey cooperation in the galaxy. We should return to the ship, Commander Veltar said quietly. We have much to discuss. As they prepared to leave, Charlie the orange cat walked over to Dr. Zixani. He rubbed against her leg and purred loudly. He likes you, Emma said. Charlie is a good judge of character. Dr. Zixani looked down at the cat. Charlie looked back with intelligent green eyes. In that moment, she realized the cat was not just being friendly. He was taking her measure, deciding if she could be trusted. Back on the ship, the alien crew gathered in the meeting room. Report, Commander Veltar said. Sir, Dr. Zixani began, I believe we are dealing with a species that has achieved something we thought impossible. They have created a symbiotic relationship with apex predators. Meaning? Meaning that every human settlement is protected by hundreds of intelligent, highly trained, perfectly armed guards. Guards that looked like harmless pets. Commander Veltar was quiet for a long moment. Then he activated the communication system. "Get me Federation Command," he said. "Priority 1. We need to revise our classification of Earth immediately." 3 days after the first visit, Dr. Zixani returned to Earth with a new mission. Federation Intelligence Officer Kethra came with her. Kethra was an expert at understanding how alien societies worked. "I want to map their power structure," Kethra explained to Dr. Zixani as their shuttle landed. "Every species has leaders, followers, and systems of control. I need to understand how humans organize themselves." They met with Agent Rick Collins from Earth's Department of Interspecies Relations. Rick was a friendly man with graying hair who seemed very relaxed about meeting aliens. "Welcome back," Rick said. "What would you like to see today?" "We want to understand your government," Kethra said. "Who makes the important decisions on your world?" Rick nodded. "That is complicated. We have many different governments. But I can show you how a typical human community works." He led them to a small town called Riverside. It had about 10,000 people, neat houses with yards, and several shops along the main street. "Who is in charge here?" Kethra asked. "A mayor, I suppose," Rick said. "But really, people mostly take care of themselves." As they walked down the street, Dr. Zixani noticed something odd. There were cats everywhere. A gray cat sat on a fence, watching them. 2 cats lay in the sun outside a shop. A black cat walked across the street like it owned the place. "Are these all pets?" she asked. "Some belong to families," Rick said. "Others are what we call community cats. The whole town takes care of them." They stopped at a small park where children were playing. At least 12 cats were scattered around the area. Some slept under trees. Others sat on benches, watching the children play. "Interesting," Kethra muttered, making notes. "The cats are positioned at strategic points around the area." "Strategic points?" Rick asked. "They can see everything from where they sit," Kethra explained. "All the entrances and exits. If anything threatening appeared, they would know immediately." Rick looked around with new eyes. "I never thought about it that way. But cats do like high places where they can observe." Dr. Zixani was studying the cats more closely. "Officer Kethra, look at their behavior patterns." The cats were not just randomly placed. Each one had chosen a spot that gave them a clear view of the area. More importantly, they seemed to be in communication with each other. When a dog walker approached the park, several cats turned to look. When a delivery truck rumbled past, ears twitched and heads turned in perfect coordination. "It is like a surveillance network," Kethra whispered. They continued their tour of the town. Rick brought them to meet Mayor Patricia Webb, a busy woman who ran the local government from a small office above the hardware store. "Please, sit down," Mayor Webb said. "I understand you are studying our society." As they talked about local politics, Dr. Zixani noticed a large tabby cat sitting on the windowsill behind the mayor's desk. The cat appeared to be sleeping, but one eye was slightly open, watching the visitors. "Is that your cat?" Dr. Zixani asked. "That is Buster," Mayor Webb said with a smile. "He belongs to everyone, really. He has been coming to this office for 5 years. I think he likes to keep an eye on things." Kethra felt a chill. "Keep an eye on things?" "Oh, yes," the mayor laughed. "Buster seems to know everything that happens in town. Sometimes I think he understands more about local politics than I do." Later, they visited the police station. Chief of Police Gary Murphy introduced them to the department's unofficial mascot, a small orange cat named Deputy. Deputy just showed up one day, Chief Murphy explained. "Now he lives here. The officers love him." "Does he interfere with police work?" Kethra asked. "Interfere? No way. He is helpful, actually." Deputy seems to sense when something is wrong. During domestic disturbance calls, he often appears and helps calm people down. Dr. Zixani exchanged glances with Kethra. The cats were not just living with humans. They were integrated into human society at every level. That evening, Rick took them to his own home for dinner. His wife, Susan Collins, greeted them warmly. 2 cats, Mittens and Shadow, came to investigate the guests. "How long have you had cats?" Dr. Zixani asked. "Always," Susan said. "I cannot imagine life without cats. They are part of the family." During dinner, something remarkable happened. Susan's phone rang. It was her neighbor, Mrs. Henderson. "Susan, have you seen Whiskers?" the neighbor asked. "He has been missing for 2 hours." Susan looked concerned. "Let me call him." She stepped outside and made a soft calling sound. "Here, Whiskers. Here, Kitty." Within minutes, cats began appearing. From everywhere. First Mittens and Shadow came outside. Then a gray cat appeared from under a bush. A black cat jumped down from a tree. A white cat emerged from behind the garage. "This is amazing," Kethra whispered to Dr. Zixani. "Look how many cats are responding." More cats kept coming. Fat cats, thin cats, long-haired cats, short-haired cats. They seemed to appear from thin air. Within 10 minutes, 17 cats had gathered in Susan's backyard. "No Whiskers yet," Susan called to her neighbor. "But I will keep trying." She made the calling sound again. 2 more cats appeared. Then finally, a large orange cat came running. From 3 blocks away. "There he is," Susan said happily. "Whiskers, you worried Mrs. Henderson." As quickly as they had appeared, the cats began to disappear again. Each one returned to wherever they had come from. In 5 minutes, the backyard was empty except for Mittens and Shadow. "How did they know to come?" Kethra asked, amazed. "Cats just know things," Rick said with a shrug. "They communicate in ways we do not fully understand." Back on the ship that night, Kethra and Dr. Zingzani reviewed their findings. "This is unprecedented," Kethra said. "The cats have created a planet-wide intelligence network." "Explain," Dr. Zixani said. "Think about what we saw today. Cats in strategic positions throughout the town. Cats in government buildings, police, stations, and family homes. They are watching everything, listening to everything, but they are just animals." "Are they?" Kethra pulled up her notes. "Today we saw 17 cats respond to a single human call within minutes. That suggests communication across great distances. We saw cats positioned to observe all major activities in the town. That suggests coordinated surveillance." Dr. Zixani considered this. "You think the cats are spying?" "I think the cats are protecting," Kethra corrected. "But the result is the same. Any threat to a human community would be immediately detected and reported through the cat network." She pulled up a map of Earth. "According to our data, there are cats in virtually every human settlement on the planet. Cities, towns, villages, military bases, government buildings. Everywhere humans live, cats live too. A surveillance network covering an entire planet," Dr. Zixani breathed. "Exactly. And the humans do not even realize it exists. They think. The cats are just pets." Kethra began typing her report. "Any military force attempting to invade Earth would face an impossible challenge. You cannot sneak up on a planet defended by 600 million intelligent observers. What do we recommend?" Kethra paused in her typing. "We recommend that Earth be classified as a high-security world. Not because of human technology, but because of their partnership with the cats." Dr. Zixani nodded slowly. "The Federation has never encountered anything like this." "No," Kethra agreed. "A species that has achieved total planetary security through symbiosis with apex predators. It is brilliant. She finished her report and sent it to Federation Command. The message was simple but shocking. Earth cannot be conquered by conventional means. The entire planet is protected by an advanced early warning system disguised as household pets. Recommend immediate reclassification to threat level maximum. On Earth, Buster the tabby cat stretched and yawned in Mayor Webb's office. He had no idea that his afternoon nap by the window had just changed galactic politics forever. In Rick Collins' backyard, Mittens was teaching her new kitten how to climb trees. The lesson was actually advanced reconnaissance training, though neither the cat nor her human family realized it. Across the planet, 600 million cats continued their ancient partnership with humanity. They provided love, companionship, and pest control. In return, humans gave them food, shelter, and medical care. Neither species fully understood that they had created the most effective planetary defense system in the galaxy. The cats knew. Of course, they had always known. They just saw no reason to tell the humans. War Commander Thexul was beginning to understand the scope of what he was seeing. Human society was built around emotional support from apex predators. Every institution had cats. Every family had cats. Every child grew up believing that deadly creatures were loving protectors. "This is impossible," he muttered to Dr. Zixani. "How can an entire species have no fear response?" They visited a hospital next. Even there, cats roamed the halls freely. A therapy cat named Healer visited patients. In the cancer ward, children with serious illnesses smiled and laughed while playing with cats. The cats reduce stress and help people heal faster, explained Dr. Patricia Kim, the head of pediatrics. "We have scientific studies proving that contact with cats lowers blood pressure and improves immune function." In the emergency room, Vic Sewell watched a paramedic named Tom Bradley bring in an accident victim. The man was in pain and very frightened. A small calico cat appeared from nowhere and jumped onto the stretcher, purring loudly. "There you go, buddy," Tom said to the patient. "Nurse Whiskers will take care of you." The injured man relaxed immediately, gently petting the cat despite his pain. His fear melted away. "The cats just know when someone needs help," Tom explained. "They show up at exactly the right moment." Vexul realized this was not coincidence. The cats were monitoring human emotional states constantly. They provided support before problems became serious. That evening, they attended a community meeting about local issues. Mayor Patricia Webb was discussing budget problems. The room was full of concerned citizens debating different solutions. At least 15 cats were present. They sat quietly around the room, watching and listening. When voices got raised in argument, several cats would approach the speakers and rub against their legs. The people would calm down immediately. "The cats help keep our meetings peaceful," Mayor Webb explained during a break. "People find it hard to stay angry when a cat is purring at them." After the meeting, Vexul asked to speak with some of the citizens privately. He wanted to test their psychological responses. "What would you do if your town was attacked by enemies?" he asked a group of residents. "Fight back, I suppose," said Bob Miller, a local mechanic. His cat, a large tabby named Wrench, sat beside him. "Are you not afraid of being hurt or killed?" Bob looked puzzled. "Why would I be afraid? I have been taking care of Wrench for 10 years. He depends on me. I cannot let him down." A woman named Helen Foster spoke up. "My cats need me," she said simply. "Whatever happens, I have to protect them." Vexul realized that humans did not fight to protect territory or resources like other species. They fought to protect their cats. This gave them a psychological advantage that was almost impossible to break. What if the enemy had superior weapons? He pressed. "Then we would be clever," said Janet Murphy, a teacher. Cats have taught us that sometimes the smallest creature can defeat the largest enemy. How? By being smarter, by working together, by never giving up. She scratched her black cat behind the ears. Shadow here once chased away a dog 10 times his size. Size does not matter if you have courage. On the way back to their ship, Exul was quiet. Dr. Zixani could see he was troubled. "What is your assessment?" she asked. "These humans cannot be defeated through psychological warfare," Exul said slowly. "Fear is useless against them. They have been conditioned by apex predators to face any threat without panic. Explain." Every human child grows up believing that the most dangerous creatures are also the most loving. They learn that claws and teeth and hunting instincts can be gentle and protective. As adults, they are psychologically prepared for anything. They reached the ship and prepared their report for Federation command. Furthermore, Lexul continued, the cats provide constant emotional support. Humans never face stress or trauma alone. They always have apex predators to comfort them and give them strength. What do you recommend? Vexul thought about Anna Roberts sleeping peacefully while Pumpkin guarded her. He thought about the injured man in the hospital, finding comfort from a cat. He thought about the soldiers who showed no fear because they lived with creatures that could kill them. "I recommend that Earth be classified as psychologically invulnerable," he said. "Any species that can form emotional bonds with apex predators cannot be broken by conventional warfare." Dr. Zixani typed up the report. "The humans have achieved something unprecedented. They have eliminated fear as a military weakness. More than that," Bexul added, "they have turned apex predators into a source of emotional strength. It is the most effective psychological defense system ever developed." He paused, remembering how Anna had hugged Pumpkin without the slightest concern for the cat's claws or teeth. No military force in the galaxy could break the spirit of a species that sleeps peacefully next to perfect killing machines. He concluded. The report was transmitted to Federation Command with a priority rating of maximum threat. Not because humans were dangerous, but because they were unbreakable. Back on Earth, Pumpkin stretched and settled down for the night next to Anna's pillow. He had no idea that his gentle purring had just convinced the galaxy's most feared military strategist that Earth was UNCONQUERABL in households across the planet. 600 million cats continued their ancient duty. They provided love, comfort, and protection to their human families. And in return, they had created the most psychologically resilient species in the galaxy. Was the most feared military strategist in the galaxy. His species, the Krexani, had conquered 47 worlds through superior tactics and psychological warfare. When Federation Command asked him to assess Earth's defenses, he accepted the challenge eagerly. "Surely you exaggerate about these cats," he told Commander Veltar as they approached Earth. "Small mammals cannot pose a serious military threat." "See for yourself," Commander Veltar replied. "But be warned, nothing about Earth is what it seems." They landed near a human military base. Major Dan Roberts met them with a small escort. Dan was a combat veteran with scars on his face and a calm, confident manner that impressed Exul. "Welcome to Fort Hamilton," Dan said. "I understand you want to study our defensive capabilities." "I want to understand your psychological warfare techniques," Exul said directly. "How do you break the will of your enemies?" Dan looked confused. "Psychological warfare? We mostly try to avoid fighting when possible." Exul found this hard to believe. Every successful military force used fear as a weapon. "You must have some methods of intimidation." "Well," Dan said thoughtfully, "would you like to meet some of our soldiers? You can judge for yourself." He led them to the base recreation center. Inside, 20 human soldiers were relaxing after training. Some played games, Others watched videos, and a few were reading books. But what caught Thexul's attention immediately were the cats. At least 8 cats were scattered throughout the room. One large black cat sat on a soldier's lap, purring loudly. A small gray cat was playing with a piece of string, pouncing and rolling. 2 cats were asleep on a sunny windowsill. "Your soldiers keep predators as pets?" Thexul asked. "Of course," Dan said. "Cats help with stress management." Military. Life can be hard on people. Private Jenny Walsh was sitting nearby with the black cat on her lap. "This is Sergeant Whiskers," she said with a grin. "He outranks me." "Outranks you?" Dr. Zixani asked. "It is a joke," Jenny explained. "But Whiskers has been on this base for 6 years. He has seen more action than most of us." Thexul studied the scene carefully. The soldiers seemed completely relaxed around creatures that could injure them easily. More importantly, the soldiers showed no fear response at all. Fear was the foundation of all psychological warfare. "Have these soldiers ever faced real combat?" he asked Dan. "Jenny was in 3 major conflicts," Dan replied. "She has seen heavy fighting." Thexul looked at Jenny again. She was calmly petting a creature with built-in weapons while discussing her combat experience. This made no sense to him. "How do you train soldiers to overcome fear?" he asked. "Fear." "Of what?" Jenny asked. "Fear of predators. Fear of being attacked." Jenny looked at Sergeant Whiskers, who was now cleaning his paw with his rough tongue. "Why would I be afraid of him? He is my buddy." Thexul realized something disturbing. These humans had no natural fear response to predators. Living with cats had made them immune to intimidation. Later, Dan took them to visit his own home. His wife, Carol Roberts, welcomed them warmly. Their 8-year-old daughter, Anna, was playing in the living room with 3 cats. "Anna, come meet our visitors," Carol called. Anna ran over, followed by a large orange tabby. She showed no shyness around the strange aliens. "This is Pumpkin," Anna said, holding up the cat. "He takes care of me." "Takes care of you how?" "Doctor," Zixani asked. "He sleeps in my room and protects me from monsters," Anna said seriously. Thexul looked at Pumpkin. The cat was studying the aliens with intelligent yellow eyes. The child was completely trusting, holding a perfect killing machine like a stuffed toy. "Are you not afraid he might hurt you?" Thexul asked Anna. Anna looked at him like he had said. "Something silly. Pumpkin would never hurt me. He loves me." During dinner, Dan told them about his military service. He had fought in several wars and seen terrible things. "I used to have nightmares," he said. "Could not sleep. Always felt nervous and angry." "How did you recover?" Thexul asked. This was important. Admiral Quinter read the reports from Earth for the 3rd time. Each one was more shocking than the last. As Supreme Commander of Federation forces, he had seen many strange worlds, but nothing like this. "Get me a secure channel to Earth," he told his communications officer, Priority Alpha. Within an hour, he was speaking directly with Director Helen Foster of Earth's Department of Galactic Relations. Helen was a calm woman in her 50s, who seemed completely unimpressed by talking to the most powerful military leader in the galaxy. "Admiral," Helen said politely, "what can we do for you?" "Director Foster, I have received some disturbing reports about your world's defensive capabilities." "Oh?" Helen raised an eyebrow. Behind her, Admiral Quinter could see a large white cat sitting on her desk, watching the conversation with bright blue eyes. "My teams report that your entire planet is protected by an advanced surveillance network. Is this true?" Helen looked confused. "Surveillance network? I am not sure what you mean." "The cats," Admiral Quinter said directly. "My intelligence officers believe your cats form a planet-wide early warning system. Helen laughed. Admiral, they are just pets. Though I suppose they do keep an eye on things. She scratched the white cat behind the ears. Do you not, Princess? Princess purred loudly and rubbed against Helen's hand. Admiral Quinter realized the humans truly did not understand what they had created. Director Foster, I am calling to propose a new relationship between Earth and the Federation. What kind of relationship? A military alliance. We would like to invite Earth to join the Federation as a founding security member. Helen looked surprised. But we have not even achieved faster than light travel yet. Surely we are too primitive to be useful. On the contrary, Admiral Quinter said, your world possesses defensive capabilities that we have never encountered. We believe Earth could be a valuable partner. 2 days later, Admiral Quinter arrived on Earth with a full diplomatic team. They met at the United Nations building in New York. Representatives from every major Earth government were present. Captain Jake Morrison led the human delegation. With him were Director Helen Foster, General Patricia Williams from Earth Defense Force, and Dr. Kevin Ross, the animal behavior expert. Admiral, Jake said as they shook hands, we are honored by your visit. The honor is mine, Admiral Quinter replied. I have come to propose something unprecedented in Federation history. As they sat down for negotiations, Admiral Quinter noticed cats throughout the building. They sat quietly in corners, on windowsills, and under tables. At least 20 cats were present, all watching the proceedings with intelligent eyes. Before we begin, Admiral Quinter said, I would like to request a demonstration. What kind of demonstration? General Williams asked. I want to see your rapid response capabilities. Can you activate your planetary defense network? The humans looked confused. Admiral, Helen said carefully, I think there has been a misunderstanding. We do not have a planetary defense network. The cats, Admiral Quinter insisted. Can you show me how they coordinate their surveillance activities? Dr. Ross leaned forward. Admiral, cats are not really under our control. They do what they want to do. Nevertheless, Admiral Quinter said, my reports indicate they can respond to threats with remarkable speed. Could you perhaps create a simulated emergency? Jake and Helen exchanged glances. We can try, Jake said, but I cannot promise anything will happen. He activated the building's emergency announcement system. Attention, this is a drill. We are testing emergency procedures. Please remain calm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, cats throughout the building began to move. They left their quiet spots and gathered in the main conference room. Within 5 minutes, over 30 cats had assembled. Admiral Quinter watched in amazement as the cats arranged themselves around the room. Each one chose a position that gave them a clear view of the exits and windows. They sat alert and ready, eyes focused on the alien visitors. Remarkable, Admiral Quinter breathed. How did they know to respond? I have no idea, Jake said honestly. Cats just seem to know when something important is happening. Dr. Ross was taking notes. This is unusual behavior, even for cats. They normally do not gather like this unless there is food involved. Admiral Quinter realized what he was seeing. The cats had identified the aliens as potential threats and had moved to defensive positions. It was a coordinated military response, disguised as curious pet behavior. Director Foster, he said, I believe your cats are more intelligent than you realize. A large orange tabby walked over to Admiral Quinter and sat down directly in front of him. The cat stared at him with unblinking green eyes. That is Chairman Meow, Dr. Ross said with a smile. He seems to be the unofficial leader of the UN. Cats, Chairman Meow continued to stare at Admiral Quinter. The Admiral felt like he was being evaluated by a superior officer. What does he want? Admiral Quinter asked. Probably just curious about you, Helen said. Cats are very good judges of character. Admiral Quinter slowly reached out his hand. Toward Chairman Meow. The cat sniffed his fingers carefully, then rubbed against his hand and began to purr. I think he likes you, Jake said. Admiral Quinter felt a strange sense of relief. He had just passed some kind of test. Let us proceed with negotiations, he said. Over the next several hours, they worked out the details of Earth's membership. In the Federation, instead of the usual colonial status given to New Worlds, Earth would join as a full partner with special responsibilities for galactic security. We are offering you advanced technology, Admiral Quinter explained. Faster than light. Travel, energy weapons, defensive shields. In return, we want Earth to serve as a training center for Federation security forces. Training for what? General Williams asked. Psychological resilience, Admiral Quinter said. Your people have achieved something we thought impossible. You are immune to fear-based attacks. We want to learn how to give our soldiers the same advantage. But we do not do anything special, Helen protested. You live with apex predators, Admiral Quinter explained. Every Federation world that tries this ends in disaster. The predators either kill the population or the population kills the predators. Only humans have achieved peaceful coexistence. Doctor, Ross looked thoughtful. You want to study human-cat relationships? We want to replicate them, Admiral Quinter said. If we can teach other species to form bonds with their apex predators, we can create psychologically unbreakable military forces. Jake understood immediately. You want to establish training programs where Federation soldiers learn to work with dangerous animals. Exactly. And we want Earth to oversee these programs, because you are the only species that truly understands. Predator partnership. Chairman Meow had been listening to the entire conversation from his spot near Admiral Quinter's feet. Now he stood up and walked to the center of the room. He sat down and meowed once. Loudly. Every cat in the room turned to look at him. For a moment, there was complete silence. Then, one by one, the cats began to purr. What are they doing? Admiral, Quinter asked. I think they are voting, Dr. Ross said in amazement. Chairman Meow asked them something, and they are all agreeing. The purring grew louder as more cats joined in. Soon, the entire room was filled with the sound of 30 cats purring in harmony. I have never seen anything like this, Dr. Ross whispered. They are communicating on a level we do not understand. Chairman Meow walked back to Admiral Quinter and rubbed against his leg. The message was clear. The cats approved of the alliance. Well, Jake said with a grin, I think we have our answer. The formal signing ceremony took place the next day. Representatives from all major Earth governments signed the Federation Alliance Treaty. As the last signature was added, Admiral Quinter made an announcement. By the authority of the Galactic Federation Council, I hereby establish the Earth Defense Training Center. This facility will teach Federation military personnel the arts of predator partnership and psychological resilience. Where will this center be located? Helen asked. Admiral Quinter smiled. Right here. The entire planet Earth is now designated as a Federation security training world. 6 months later, the first class of alien cadets arrived on Earth. They came from a dozen different worlds, all eager to learn the secrets of human courage. The training was simple in concept, but difficult in practice. Each cadet was assigned a cat partner and required to live with them for 6 months. They had to learn to trust creatures that could kill them easily. Most of the cadets failed within the first week, but those who succeeded became the most effective. Soldiers in Federation history. Admiral Quinter visited the training center regularly. His favorite spot was the graduation ceremony, where successful cadets demonstrated their partnerships with their cat instructors. Ladies and gentlemen, He would announce to each new class, "You are about to meet Earth's secret weapon. They are called cats, but we have learned to call them by their proper military designation, murder mittens." The cadets would laugh nervously, not understanding the joke. They would understand soon enough. On Earth, 600 million cats continued their daily routines. They slept in sunny spots, played with toys, and demanded food from their human servants. But now they had a new job. They were teachers, showing the galaxy how apex predators and intelligent SP